And that's how I look at it. What makes him get more respect than me? You my next door neighbor, not tell him? You got yours from your family. I got mine from the ground up, from hard work and dedication.
Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest ever. He's a brilliant defensive fighter. His speed, his boxing savvy, he's just a savant. He's just something special, no question about it. But I gotta look at the Sugar Ray Leonards of the world.
Floyd's way is safe. Not in a punk, but it's like the safe way, like nothing ain't gonna go wrong. But that's how he fights. That's his characteristic.
Floyd Mayweather recently fired back after Stephen A. Smith questioned his legacy. Smith suggested that Terence Crawford could defeat Mayweather and argued that the undefeated champion is not the greatest fighter of all time, despite his own claims. According to Smith, Sugar Ray Leonard holds that distinction and showed a higher level of greatness. He also pointed out that Mayweather's most notable victories came at lightweight and argued that he didn't dominate as convincingly when moving up in weight. To add fuel to the debate, Smith downplayed Mayweather's win over Canelo Alvarez, calling it less remarkable than many believe. These remarks sparked a sharp response from Mayweather, who wasn't willing to let the criticism slide.
It's about your skill set. It's who you do it against.
Your level of competition. Is it possible that he's so far beyond his level of competition that he made it look easy?
Well, I think he did as a lightweight. When he went up to the welterweight division, not so much. You know what I'm saying? Now, if
taking out Canelo the way he took out.
Well, he just gave him a boxing lesson, but Canelo was 22 years old. See, I remember
That's
that.
an excuse, though. I don't like this, like he's 22, he's too young.
I will tell you this. Well, you know, you do have to take that into consideration.
The guy had 100 fights.
Well, let me explain. You have to take that into consideration when boxing is the issue. Now, if he got knocked on his ass, that's different. But when he simply got schooled, when you swinging a punch and Floyd is tapping you on your shoulder saying, I'm behind you, that's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? That's just a skill, like, you know,
we could credit Floyd with that.
Of course, I am crediting. I'm saying he's a brilliant boxer. You know, this Floyd knew how to move before you even threw the damn punch. You see what I'm saying? You gotta be a veteran to know how to overcome that. You can't put a novice into the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather.
Yeah.
You understand? He's going to school you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is that if you want to make an argument on Floyd Money Mayweather's half, which I'm not summarily dismissing, I would tell you is this. Floyd Money Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly...
Boxing analyst Dawood Bey recently weighed in on the debate surrounding Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford, especially after Crawford's dominant showing against Canelo Alvarez. While Bey admitted that, as a fan, he slightly favors Crawford in a fantasy matchup, he emphasized the need for balance in the comparison. He pointed out that many fans have rushed to call Crawford's win over Canelo greater than anything on Mayweather's resume. However, Bey reminded audiences that Mayweather also defeated Canelo, and did so at a time when the young Mexican star was still developing as a fighter. According to Bey, it's unfair to dismiss Mayweather's accomplishments in favor of Crawford, as both men have brought something special to the sport. His conclusion: Crawford deserves recognition for dismantling Canelo so convincingly, but Mayweather's victory over him was equally historic and should not be forgotten.
That Bud goes about it a little bit better than Floyd in this sense. Floyd will when Floyd fought Canelo, he was standing right there. He wasn't running and all of that. He wasn't doing all this stuff that they say, oh, runner, Mayweather's a runner. He wasn't doing that versus Canelo. He was right there. Because I can't even really remember Canelo catching him like that, like with nothing. With Bud, I could remember Canelo catching Bud a couple times, but Bud gave him the, all right, put your foot out, what's up? Boxing turn, boxing turn, boxing turn. And was really standing there and giving it to him with another type of energy. The energy is more so all right, what's up? You can't beat me. Floyd energy be bop, bop, I'm better than you. You see what I'm saying? They don't really be respecting that all the time. They'll acknowledge it yo, I ain't gonna lie, he hard to catch. But they be nah, you didn't beat me up. Bud go about his fights in a way where it's the Mexican fan base gotta be I ain't gonna lie, Canelo, he hollered at you. He came at you too. He didn't just be better than you. He was better, and then he was all right, I'm gonna come at you. And I think they really respect that. Shit, I respect it. I don't think it's not, I think the less you get hit, the better. I'm always gonna take it that way. So, you know what I'm saying? as a boxing fan, the kind of boxing fan that I am, I would have leaned towards Floyd's performance, but Bud's performance was like, if I'm a
Trainer Boozy Ennis recently spoke out in defense of Terence Crawford's place in boxing history. Addressing critics who downplay Crawford's resume, Ennis argued that Crawford has repeatedly proven himself as one of the top fighters of his generation. He emphasized that Crawford consistently takes on dangerous opponents and never shies away from high-risk matchups. According to Ennis, this willingness to embrace risk is what separates Crawford from many of his peers. By continually testing himself against the toughest competition, Crawford has secured his position among the sport's elite. Ennis stressed that instead of diminishing Crawford's accomplishments, fans and analysts should recognize that very few fighters in history have shown the same blend of versatility, boldness, and sustained success.
Got to stop it. He'll tell you that. If he had to sit down a little bit more. But I tell you, Terence can fight and he can box. And he can fight. He'll fight this side. He take chances, man. You know what I mean? And that's how you be great, man. He won't be great. He's out there now. I think he's great. I think he's the best out there right now in that division. You know what I mean?
What's left?
For Terence?
Yeah.
If I was Terence, I would retire. That's what I would do. He did everything, man. He's done everything, man. You know what I mean? You know how many titles he done won? All that stuff, you know what I mean? I'll go off one in the sunset, man. You know what I mean? You don't need no more money. You know what I mean?
Terence Crawford's longtime trainer, Brian Bo Mac McIntyre, believes the champion still has a few major chapters left to write in his career. McIntyre suggested that Crawford could step into the ring 2 or 3 more times before considering retirement. One intriguing possibility, he noted, is a jump to 160 pounds, a move. That would be less about chasing belts, and more about reinforcing a legacy that is already destined. For the Hall of Fame, Bomac pointed out that Crawford has already etched his name into the history books with landmark victories and by becoming undisputed in multiple divisions. Still, the thought of capturing titles in even higher weight classes excites both the team and the fans. McIntyre made it clear that Crawford isn't fighting to prove himself anymore. Instead, he's focused on strengthening his place among boxing's all-time greats by taking on challenges that only legends dare to attempt.
They can't take it away from a nigga.
Does this one mean more to you than the other ones?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It gives us the opportunity as a team to go into the Hall of Fame. Instead of a fighter going in there, instead of a coach going in there, it gives us a better chance to go in there as a team.
Well, congrats on that. I know that means a lot to you and the
Definitely.
team. You know, I asked Bud this after the fight 2 weeks ago. Would he consider this his signature win? He said, yeah, one of them. Do you think that was his signature win of his career?
Well, the last fight?
Yeah, the Canelo one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was the underdog. Everybody just thought that, you know, he was going to get beat.
What's up?
He was going to get beat. Surprising.
So what's next for Bud? What do you want to see him do?
I just want to see him, you know, spend time with his family because, you know, training for a fight, you can go on a long time. You're going away from your family. It could take a toll on you after a while. So,
as his trainer, do you feel like he should just sail off into the sunset after this monumental
well,
win?
you know what? They made it look so easy. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit, got 2-3 more in him and shit. You know what I'm saying? Training camp will try harder. You know what I'm saying?
Former world champion Timothy Bradley recently spoke with admiration about Terence Crawford's impact on the sport. He explained that many young fighters battle self-doubt, especially when critics question their progress. But Crawford has shown what persistence and determination can accomplish. Bradley pointed out that despite the skepticism surrounding him early in his career, Crawford consistently silenced doubters with his performances. By becoming an undisputed champion in multiple weight classes, he achieved what many thought was impossible. For Bradley, Crawford's legacy goes beyond the wins and titles. He represents belief, resilience, and the power of hard work in the face of criticism. Today, rising fighters see Crawford not just as a world champion, but as a role model who embodies the mindset of never giving up.
You have become. You're a true inspiration to the youth, man. anybody that's troubled, any troubled kid out there, man, they can look at you and say, hey, man, I got a fighting chance to get myself out the situation. All I got to do is make that choice. That's what you did, Crawford. You made that choice, man. You made that choice to change, bro. You know, you saw it going down, man, years ago, man, in 2008, man, when that bullet came through that window, you knew you had to do something or you'll end up 6 feet under, bro. You know? So that courage that you had, man, and that will that you had and that mindset of change, man, and the gym, you know, grooming you and turning you into a man, because that's what boxing does. See, people don't understand, man, that boxing is more than just throwing punches. You know, boxing teaches you discipline. You know, it teaches you love for people, love for others, man. You know, working together. You know, you're there constantly every single day, man. You know, spending time there perfecting a craft, man. Perfecting yourself, understanding yourself, learning more about yourself each and every single day. You push it inside the gym. You know, boxing is more than just...
Floyd Mayweather's career became something larger than boxing itself. As Oladipo explained, Mayweather crafted two distinct personas that captivated fans worldwide: Pretty Boy Floyd and Money Mayweather. In his early years, Pretty Boy Floyd was known as a fearless puncher who delivered spectacular knockouts. Later, Money Mayweather emerged, the sharp businessman who perfected defensive boxing and turned every bout into a global spectacle. His mastery of pay-per-view and self-promotion transformed him into more than just an athlete. Oladipo credited Mayweather's brilliance not only inside the ropes, but also in how he reshaped the business side of the sport. By combining technical excellence with showmanship, Mayweather became a cultural icon and a pioneer of boxing's modern economic model, one that many fighters today continue to follow.
He's a genius. He is a fucking... You know, when I get bored with today's crop of boxers, and Terence, to be fair, has kind of helped me out of my boredom, but sometimes I just go on YouTube and I watch the 24/7s and then I watch the fight. I'm not joking, I watch the whole fucking episodes and then I watch the fight. And my guy is a genius. A genius. There will always be an argument, oh, you should have fought that person then, and I get it. I get it, right? It's kind of the argument you can't throw at Muhammad Ali, right? You can throw that argument at Floyd. But dude, unbeaten is unbeaten. Unbeaten is unbeaten. Multi-weight world champion is multi-weight world champion. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen a boxer so like, I'm gonna work you out, and then when I work you out, you're done. I repeat that. I'm gonna work you out, and when I work you out, you're done. And Floyd had this thing where first 2 rounds, you think, oh shit, man, this guy's in this fight, and then he works you out. And then he works you out. Floyd, Pretty Boy Floyd was better than Money, but Money Floyd had obviously the fight.
Following Terence Crawford's dominant win over Canelo Alvarez, debate has grown around what comes next for the champion. Some voices within the boxing world, including members of his own team, have floated the idea of retiring now to protect his legacy. Their argument is that Crawford has already secured his place among the greats and has nothing left to prove. At the same time, critics continue to downplay his accomplishments, suggesting that stepping away now might be best before his reputation is tested further. This has created a divide, as many fans believe Crawford still has plenty left in the tank. His recent performances show no signs of decline, and supporters want to see him in more marquee matchups. While retirement remains a possibility, one fact is certain: Crawford's resume has already cemented him as one of the sport's all-time greats. Whether he decides to continue fighting or not, his legacy is untouchable.
Did what he did against Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford made himself the face of boxing, and he did it. He made it look easy. He made the Errol Spence fight look easy. That was supposed to be the toughest test of his career. I thought it was. The whole world thought it was. It was the easiest fight he had at welterweight. I thought, but I've been saying for years that he's going to easily beat Canelo Alvarez, and he did. But many people expected Canelo to knock him out. That wasn't the case. With that said, now people are trying to throw. He's 38. Tomorrow, Terence Crawford will be 38 years old. He's a 5-division champion. If he wants to stick around, like Terence Crawford stated, okay, Terence Crawford stated, if I do stick around, I'm not dropping down no further than 160 pounds. If he stays in boxing, I say he have 2 more fights, fight Janibek, who's the unified champion. Hopefully calls the Adames and Lara fight and unify the belt. 2 fights at 160, pad the stats, become a 6th division champion and a 4 division undisputed champion. Cool. Other than that, Terence Crawford needs to retire.
Trainer Robert Garcia recently shared his perspective on the Mayweather versus Crawford debate. He acknowledged that Floyd Mayweather's record and career success are nearly unmatched, but pointed out one important distinction. Mayweather never became an undisputed champion, an achievement that both Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao can claim. In that regard, Garcia admitted Crawford's resume holds significant weight in boxing history. Still, when pressed to compare the two directly, Garcia leaned toward Mayweather. He explained that Floyd's defensive skills, sharp timing, and ring IQ would present problems even for a fighter as gifted as Crawford. Garcia stressed that Mayweather's ability to neutralize opponents is what made him so difficult to beat, often turning dangerous matchups into one-sided performances. While Garcia respects what Crawford has accomplished, his view is that Mayweather's mastery of fundamentals and strategic brilliance puts him on a level above almost anyone, including today's champions.
With his accomplishments, the only man to ever do 3 weight divisions undisputed, is he now a part of the greatest of all time conversation? Not of this era, but of all time.
Definitely is the greatest, one of the greatest of all times. You know, there's still greats out there. There's still, you know, his era or last era, you know, with the Mayweathers, with the Pacquiaos. I think he's, you know, already accomplished more than Pacquiao was 8 divisions, so we have to, we could argue there because Pacquiao was, 8 division is almost impossible, and he did it. Mayweather never became undisputed. He's a 5 division champion, but never became undisputed. Never really followed that unification, stuff like that. So I think when it comes to accomplishments, I think he's already...
Coach Greg Hackett added his perspective to the Mayweather-Crawford conversation by focusing on how each man handled Canelo Alvarez. Hackett argued that when Mayweather fought Canelo, he was already a complete fighter, showing polish, composure, and technical mastery across 12 flawless rounds. In contrast, Crawford's style, while highly effective, is more aggressive and built on adaptability, rather than the kind of perfection Floyd displayed. Hackett emphasized that Mayweather's defensive brilliance and ability to control every second of a fight remain unmatched in boxing history. While he respects Crawford's achievements, Hackett believes Floyd's brand of dominance operated on another level. To him, Crawford's explosiveness is spectacular, but Mayweather's calculated dismantling of Canelo was closer to perfection. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith applauded Crawford's recent victory over Canelo, describing it as one of the most entertaining performances boxing has seen in years. He highlighted how Crawford, the smaller man moving up in weight, neutralized a bigger and stronger opponent in dominant fashion. Smith praised Crawford not only for his technical skill, but also for giving fans a show they will remember, noting that the sport needs fighters who can combine mastery with entertainment value. For Smith, Crawford's performance proved he is more than just a great champion. He's also an entertainer capable of carrying boxing forward.
But the biggest props of the night goes to Terence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, was a masterclass in boxing by Terence Crawford. Now, to me, the fight, some people were saying it was a severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all.
Veteran boxing journalist Dan Rafael offered a long-term view on Terence Crawford's career, arguing that the champion no longer needs to prove anything inside the ring. Rafael pointed out that Crawford's resume already secures his place in history, becoming undisputed in multiple weight classes, defeating top-tier opponents and building a reputation for dominance. According to Rafael, when a fighter reaches this level, the mission shifts. It's no longer about validation, but about protecting the legacy that has already been established. He cautioned that chasing unnecessary fights could put Crawford at risk of damaging what he has built. Instead, Rafael believes Crawford should embrace the recognition of being one of boxing's all-time greats. With a record full of historic achievements, Rafael concluded, Crawford will be remembered as a legend whether he continues fighting or chooses to step away now.
Pocket, like he's not moving anywhere from him. He's using his head movement, he's not being stupid, but he's not necessarily moving away from Canelo. Like you said, he's walking the, quote unquote, bigger man down and forcing the action rather than going off, reacting to Canelo's attacks. So I think it was such an impressive display, but it sort of begs the question now, when you're a 3-time undisputed champion, and I know money's important, financials, we always talk about that, his legacy's intact regardless. We'll start with Terence, what does a Terence Crawford do now? Like what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, it's the only way that he really gets that, maybe that ultimate chance if he goes up again. And do you say, what do you do?
I don't quit. Yeah, I mean, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made 2 things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggested about possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up. Yeah. That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down to weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fan. So I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, but I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged like that guy's really big. I mean, that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for.
That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more boxing breakdowns. Stay tuned until next time.